Shalom WJC family. It's time for our weekly Torah Talk. This week in Shul we will be reading Parshat Ki Tavo, coming towards the end of Moshe's instructions to the people as they enter the land. When you come, Ki Tavo el haaretz, when you come into the land that God is going to give you. Moshe has been giving the people commands, principles, ideas of things that they need to do when they come into the land. But this Parsha introduces an incredibly important concept that will have a deep impact on what it is to be Jewish and to practice Judaism into the future up until today. It's a unique idea in the Torah up until here, more or less. When you come to worship in the Torah, it's referring to animal sacrifice. But here Moshe says that on Shavuot, you're going to take your bikurim, your first fruits, you're going to put them in a basket, and you're going to bring that basket to the Kohen. And when you hand the basket to the Kohen, you're going to express in words, in a prayer, the following declaration. It's a set of words. You have to say them exactly the way that they are written on the page. And it's one that many of us are familiar with from the Haggadah. The whole Haggadah is based on, the whole Haggadah, much of the Haggadah, the big midrash in the Magid section of the Haggadah, the storytelling part of the Haggadah, is based on this passage, what you will say, Arami Oved Ivri. My father was a wandering Aramean, or an Aramean chased my father. He came down to Egypt, few in number, there became a great nation, and the Egyptians, they persecuted us, they put us to work, and God brought us out with an outstretched hand and a strong arm, and so on and so forth. And that phrase ends, brought me to this land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and so I bring my first fruits in acknowledgement. Now, how did this passage get into the Torah, get into the Haggadah? It could be from the way it is introduced in Deuteronomy. In chapter 26, verse 3, it says, Uvata el ha-kohen asher yeh bayamim hahem. You'll come to the Kohen who is in charge at that time. V'amarta elav, and you will say to him, Higadati hayom ladonai Elohecha. I bring to you, that's not right, Higadati hayom. I proclaim hayom, I speak hayom. Higadati, the same root as Haggadah. Ladonai Elohecha, that the Lord your God, kivati el haaretz asher nishba, Adonai lavotenu leitet lanu. So you'll proclaim, right? I am acknowledging, I am proclaiming, I am saying, Higadati, on this day, that the Lord your God has brought me to the land that he vowed to give to us. Now, anything strange about that phrase? Okay, so we've got Higadati. The passage appears in the Haggadah. We're going to come back to that word. But why do we say Ladonai Elohecha, the Lord your God? If you're proclaiming that you're bringing this basket of fruits, wouldn't you say the Lord my God or the Lord our God brought to you this day? Rabbeinu Bachya ben Asher asked this question. How could you exclude yourself when making this declaration from the person in front of you? Ultimately, he has a number of explanations, but the most important one lands on this word, Higadati, Haggadah. What is it about to telling? When you tell, is it for your sake, or is it for the sake of the person who's hearing? Or when we read the Haggadah, when we tell the story of the Passover, is it for us, or is it for the 4 children, or the children around the table, who are to ask the questions and to listen to the answers, to the Magid, to the story? It seems to me, and Rabbeinu Bachya points out, that this Haggadah, this telling, is not for the person bringing the basket of the fruit, but that there's something about doing this proclaiming, saying prayers, that expands God's reach for the person to whom they are speaking, or one who overhears them. Now, it's important. Rabbeinu Bachya points it out with a phrase that from the Psalms, that we say whenever we pronounce the Amidah, when we do our prayers, we're to say, Adonai sfatai tiftach, dear God, open my lips, ufi yagid tehilatecha, right? That my mouth may speak your praise. Yagid tehilatecha, speak your praise. But Rabbeinu Bachya points out, it's not to speak your praise, that there in Psalms, it's to expand your praise, to share your praise, to spread the reach of your praise. And Rabbeinu Bachya points out that so too, when you make this declaration, we say, the Lord your God, because you're really, by praying publicly, you're expanding God's praise within the community. You're becoming a part of God's glory, such that others can see it and also acknowledge it. So there's a sense of prayer. Of course, we have devotional, individual prayer where we speak to God about our personal needs and whatnot. But what Rabbeinu Bachya is saying is symbolized by this basket-giving ceremony, is that by making this public ceremonies like weddings, right? A man and a woman can, at least in ancient law, be married without a public wedding ceremony. But the public nature of the wedding ceremony allows everybody to enjoy the sacredness, the holiness, the kedushin of love between two partners. And so too, when one would bring their basket and declare their prayers, they were allowing everybody to see that it's not me saying, I'm such a clever farmer, I'm such a savvy farmer that I'm going to declare how smart am I? Look at this basket full of fruit. But no, this is an acknowledgement, this very fruit that it grows in this land that God gave to us should help you see that the Lord your God has fulfilled God's promise. And that's what public prayer is about. When we come with the requirement for 10 people to make a minyan, to pray together, it's not for our sake so much, but it's for everyone else's sake. And so too, their showing up to pray is to inspire us. And ultimately, through that, us all coming together to higadati, to I proclaim, I spread God's glory, so too, together we all have a little bit more awareness of God's presence, of God's praiseworthiness, of God's glory. So at least according to this explanation, why do we pray public prayer? Why do we require a minyan to pray, 10 people? Well, because ultimately that is the whole point of public prayer. That is the whole point of fixed prayer and fixed declarations. Prayer of the heart is wonderful. It is an important part of our personal spiritual journeys. But prayer, the keva, prayer in public, tefillah b'tzibor, prayer among the public, that ultimately is not a mitzvah of trying to fulfill our own longing, but a mitzvah of actually sharing God's glory with others by showing up for one another, by being part of a minyan, by reciting the prayers as we see them on the page together, raising up all of our awareness of God's presence, the holiness in the world, the beauty of togetherness, the wonder of having this world to live in, to support us as a gift from our Creator. May we all feel that kind of connection this Shabbat and every day as we come to pray. And I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.